Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about telling time. So first off, ¿qué hora es? If you're asked ¿qué hora es?, what you're being asked is what time is it? And there's two responses that you can use. You can use es la if your time is 1. Okay, so if 1 o'clock is your time, you're going to use es la in front of it. If your time is any other time out of the day, you are going to use son las. Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice with that before we come back and answer all of, and look at the rest of this. Okay, so let's go to telling time practice. Actually, I think I want to do this one. Okay, so here you have clocks and you're supposed to tell what time it is. So if you look up here, it's 1:20. So what you would do is, you only use one, you use es la if the time you're getting ready to say is 1, you use son las if you're getting ready to say any other time. Well, it's 1 o'clock, so I'm going to use es la. So I start off with es la, and 1 o'clock would be una. Now we all know that 1 is uno, but because we're talking about the hour place here, we make it feminine. So when you're telling time and you're talking about the hour being 1 o'clock, you always use una, not uno. Okay, now, however, let's go back to well, before I go back, the problem is here is I said it's 1 o'clock. Well, it's actually a little bit after 1. So, and most of the time when we are telling time, it is going to be, it's not going to be just on the hour. So what we do that is we express minutes past or after an hour. We use the and. We use the y. Wait a minute. Let me go back and make it red. Okay, because what we're going to say, for example, here, it's 3:20. So we're going to say it is 3. Well, with it being 3, it's not 1. So we're going to pick son las tres, y, and then however many minutes. Well, if it's 20 minutes, we say y 20. Okay, so then let's go back and look at what we have in our practice. I can't get it open. Here we go. Okay, so if we're back here and we had es la una, we are going to plug in, but it's not just 1, it's 1 and so many minutes. Let's see if I can't get it. Oh, well, it's already saved, so I think I can. So it's going to be and e, and then how many minutes is it? Here again, it's 20, so I'm going to write 20. Okay. So es la 1:20. Here, it's 6:15. So again, this time it's 6. It's not 1. So I'm going to use son las, not es. I only use es la if the hour I'm getting ready to write is 1. Okay, I'm getting ready to write 6. So I'm going to say son las, and it's 6, but it's 6 and so many minutes. How many minutes is it? It's 15 minutes. So I'm going to say son las 6:15. Okay. Now, if when you tell the time like this, let's actually, well, I guess I can go ahead and write it on here and then take it out. Okay, so when I tell the time, if you look at my clock, if I take and divide my clock up, what my minute hand is actually covered is 1/4 of the circle that makes up my clock. And 1/4 is called cuarto. So you could write this as son las 6:15, or you could write it as son las 6, oops, not sus, 6:15. Okay, So it's either 15 minutes, son las 6:15, or son las 6:15. Okay, so if we go up here, let's keep practicing. Here it is 7:25. So I am going to say it's 7. Since it's not 1 o'clock, I'm going to start off with son. Son las 7 is 7. And how many minutes? It's 25. 20, 25. So son las 7:25. If I go down here, it's 6. Wait a minute. It's 9:30. So again, since I'm going to be using it is, since the time I'm getting ready to write is 9 and it's not 1, I'm going to use son las. Okay, and the hour is 9, 9. And how many minutes? Well, when the big hand is on the 6, that's 30 minutes, which is 30. Okay, but again, if I look up here and I take and divide up my circle, when my minute hand, if I did my circle, when my minute hand gets to the 6, I have actually made it cover a half of the circle that makes up my clock, and a half is media. So you could actually say son las 9:30 or son las 9:30. Okay. All right. Now, before we go on and do more, we also want to express, notice how these clocks have AM and PM, right? PM, and down here we even have PM sharp. Okay, so we need to know how do we express that as well. Well, the expressions that you use are de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche. So let's see if they're on our page. Okay, so if we look back here, there's our cuarto y media. This one doesn't mention it. I think it's actually in this one. Okay, the expressions de la mañana, de la tarde, or de la noche are used when telling specific times. And en punto means on the dot or sharp. So let's just kind of block that out. Whoops. Okay, so de la mañana is in the morning, de la tarde is in the afternoon, and de la noche is in the evening. So actually, you know what? Let's take it and put it, wait a minute. Let's copy that. I don't know if there's anywhere I can really put it, but okay, so we've got it down here, de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche. So up here I've got es la 1:20. This is in the morning, so I'm going to use de la mañana. So to really finish this off, I'm going to say es la 1:20 de la mañana. Okay, that's how I say it's 1:20 in the morning, as opposed to 1:20 in the afternoon. Okay, then down here, son las 6:15. This to me would be in the evening, not really the afternoon. So I'm going to say son las 6:15 de la noche. Or son las 6:15 de la noche. Okay. Over here, it's 7:25. Again, to me, that is evening, so I would say de la noche. Down here, this says sharp. Sharp is in punto, so I'm actually going to say son las 9:30 in punto de la, and this is 9:30 de la noche again. Okay, And I'm going to write the same thing right here. En punto de la noche. Okay. So then let's go over here and see what we've got. Here we've got 12 o'clock in the morning, and then they gave you two ways. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say it is 12 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so if I'm saying it's 12, I'm not saying 1, so I'm going to use son las. Son las 12 is 12, and I could put on the dot if I wanted to, en punto, because that's on the dot or sharp. Son las 12 en punto de la mañana, because it's in the morning, right? Okay, or what I could say is they actually have expressions just like we do in English. How we can say for noon and midnight, noon is mediodía, okay, and midnight is medianoche. So then what we could do is say, here son las 12 en punto de la mañana, or it is midnight, because midnight is 12 in the morning, right? So I could say is medianoche. So I could say it either way. Son las 12 en punto de la mañana, ahora es medianoche. Okay, down here we're doing the same thing, but now it's PM. So I could say it's 12, which would be son las 12 en punto de la tarde, because it's, 12 in the afternoon. Or I could say it's midday, which is mediodía. So I could say son las 12 en punto de la tarde, or es mediodía, midday. Okay. All right, over here now, it's getting a little bit tricky because here it's 9:40. Okay, so what they tend to do, now you could go ahead and say it's 9:40, but what they usually do in most Spanish-speaking countries is they go ahead and say it's the next hour. So if it's 9:40, it's really almost 10 o'clock. And if I'm getting ready to write 10, I'm not getting ready to write 1, so I would write son, not es, son las, 10 is 10, okay? But my problem is now I can't write and, but I can't leave it as that because it's not 10 o'clock either. So what I have to do is I do this. I say menos. To express minutes before an hour, you use menos. So once you get past the half-hour mark, what they tend to do in Spanish is go ahead and say it's the next hour. So here it's 6:50. That's almost 7. So you say son las 7, but how many minutes is it going to take you to get to 7? It's going to take you 10. So you say menos 10. So when you are past the half hour, you usually go ahead and start saying it's the next hour, and then you just say minus the amount of minutes it's going to take you to get there. So if we go back to our practice, if I can get it to come up. Okay, so here it's son las 10 minus how many minutes? It's going to be minus 20. So I'm going to say menos 20 de la, again, I'm going to say noche because to me 10 o'clock is pretty late, so it would be evening. Oops. Son las 10 menos 20 de la noche. Okay, and here it's 6. Well, I don't know why they have that on the dot there because that's not correct. It's 6:10. So I'm going to say, well, I guess you could say on the dot. It's 6:10 on the dot. So what you would say if you're saying it's 6:10, you're not saying it's 1, so you're going to write son las, Okay, 6, and this time, because it's 6 and some minutes, it's not minus some minutes to get to the hour you're mentioning. So and is 10 en punto de la mañana. Okay, on the last one down here, I have, it looks like it's 3:45, so it's almost 4 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it is 4 o'clock. Son las 4. Okay, but it's not quite 4. It's going to take me 15 minutes to get to 4, so I'm going to say son las 4 menos cuarto de la tarde. And this time I'm putting tarde because it's afternoon. Excuse me. Also, however, if you look back at, if we take our clock and we divide it up like this, we have a fourth of the clock to go through to get to the top of the hour. And if you remember, a fourth doesn't matter whether it's a quarter past or a quarter till, a fourth is cuarto. So you could say son las 4 menos cuarto de la tarde. Oh, whoops, I already did it that way. Or if you wanted to say the minutes, you could have said son las 4 menos 15 de la tarde. So the reason why I was able to do cuarto is because it's a quarter till. It's going to take me a quarter to get to the top of the hour.